All right. Uh, Hello. We are Jacob Garrett and Philip Wrighton, and we decided to do 3D printing in hospitals. 3D printing and how it is revolutionizing the medical industry. The first time that it was seen, created, was in 1983 by Chuck Hull, and it wasn't very popular back in 1983. But the reason that hospitals are getting into this technology is because you can make completely unique organs, joints, basically anything you want for a patient, and it can be for that patient. Um, and then what we found on regulation, the FDA doesn't regulate the printers themselves, but they regulate the products they make, the hearts, the joints, they look at what it actually makes instead of the printers themselves, um, and the potential risks that are posed to the patients is what they care about. And then there's also many ways to teach the kids, to teach kids and doctors. And that's what printers are used. 3D printers are used for um, in hospitals, but they also raise a lot of questions to the employees in a hospital. For a system administrator, these are the questions that they will ask. How is this seen on a server? Like basically any other device with a driver. So if you have a printer, it'll be seen as a printer on your computer. Any Bluetooth device, it's basically the same thing across the board. How is it installed and maintained? There will be a guide to help you when you get it, obviously, to help you set it up. But your technical specialist should get it running. That's kind of their job. Your job is to just install it really and get programs run, and then they're the specialist, obviously. In detail, how does it work? He really needs to know what it needs to run, like programs, the designing aspect. Does it need Wi-Fi or internet, or can it run by itself? Does it need to be connected Bluetooth? He needs to know those things. And how is it connected? Obviously, it's Bluetooth or by USB. It can be either one or both. What programs do I need to get the program? It's actually not a language. It's you don't need a lot of programming skills to do a 3D printer. You do need to know some, but it's not very complicated at all. And so there's programs instead of languages. Autodesk Fusion 360 and the AutoCAD is the two most popular that I found that help you really. And how is it connected to the cloud? Which is surprising to me. 3D Printing OS can even have Linux. So not even Windows, Mac OS, but you can also run it on Linux as well on the cloud, which is pretty interesting to me.
So the network administrator, since most of it is hardlined, there isn't much Wi-Fi to deal with. So special portal is one of the things that I have to work with the programmer to make so that they can do the molds, they can do the measurements for the casts and for the actual thing, and those 3D printers would have to be made sure to have security. So almost all of it doesn't need internet; it just needs power and it needs to be connected to a desktop. And the 3D printing just do updates. Normally, they don't normally push updates, and large updates are normally every 3 years or something, from what we found. Next one. So if we hire a technical 3D printer specialist, the programs the system administrator will will teach them. You would have to program the designs into the printer just by using the applications. Definitely, it would need routine cleanings, stay lubricated. You have to make sure the screws, you have to update the firmware, and then you have to ensure that it has enough plastic for run. And whenever you work with a system administrator, you have to pick the correct program for the general hospital. So not every 3 program is the same. And so sometimes the 2 programs will have different essentials. So you would have to be, as a technical specialist, ensure that you're picking the right product. And then whenever you have to deal with way more specialized things, let's just say it's maybe you have to go into body or something, you would have to find a correct company to do that. And so the technical specialist would have to have those business necessary skills to do that. Now, to run the test for the system to maintain it, you would have to use calibration prints and different size shapes, make it complex enough to make a useful test. And virtual printers are already used to run the test, so there's no need for extra stuff. So the fun fact about 3D printing as hospitals is that it's actually, there's not a lot to program because a lot of it is in there already, and the actual 3D printing doesn't require programming skills, requires more art skills than anything. And frankly, it's very easy for someone to pick up. And so you would have to ensure the lab is large enough and you have enough 3D printers to print things so you can turn around things for doctors. And how do you program printing the parts? You'd have to ensure the models are correct. You'd have to ensure the measurements are correct. The molds are correct. You have to ensure that's put in correctly inside the program. And you'd have to get the patents and maybe you have to pay more money for specific things depending on the contract you have with companies. So one of the things you would have to make, though, or program, is a portal for making these molds and measures so that they can be sent to the lab. So there is a special program for all 3D printing, and it would just depend on which one you would have to have. And you would have to work out with the system administrator what is best. And that would go to the system administrator. Are we done?
Yes.